Imagine this, you are playing a game of chess, everything looks fine, you are pushing your pawns, moving your pieces, but suddenly, bam, you lose your queen in one move, or maybe you play a beautiful opening, but in the end game, your opponent quietly outplays you and you lose. What if I told you there are 5 golden rules in the chess that I have learned, and if you follow them, will instantly take you from being an average player to someone your opponent will fear sitting from? Today, I am going to explain all of them with the examples, and if you apply them, then you can make your game go to a next level. So let us start. Rule number one, always analyze your opponent's move first. Most of beginners and even intermediate players make the mistake of only thinking about their own moves. But in chess, every move your opponent makes is a message. They're trying to do something, and your first job is to figure out what that is. So in this game, my opponent has pushed the pawn, and I played the bishop, and my opponent has pushed the pawn. His aim was always to target the g5 square, by which he can pin my rook and king, and he was successful in doing that because I ignored what he was trying to do, and he grabbed my rook, and eventually I lost the game. So it's always important that you got to analyze your opponent move first. Tip number 2, master one opening. You got to master one opening as a white and one as a black. When players start out, they often bounce from one opening to another. So it might be like Italian, Sicilian, French, you name it. The problem is that if you keep switching, you really don't understand the deeper idea of any of them. Depth is more important than the breadth. There is always a saying, a famous saying, I fear not the man who has practiced 1,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 1,000 times. Same goes with chess. It's better to master one opening as a white and one as a black than to dabber in dozen. For example, if you choose the Queen's Gambit as white, you will quickly learn how to control the center, develop your pieces harmonically, and understand the balance between keeping or sacrificing the pawns for activity. The same can be done if you have learned as a Karaoke or any other opening as a black. First, you got to build a rock solid opening and then move on to the next stage in the chess. Next, tip number 3 is develop your visualization skills. Visualization is simply the ability to move in your head before actually happening on the board. This is one of the most important skill in chess, and it will separate what beginners from the advanced players. Let us take the example of this game. Here the knight would first take the e5 pawn, attacking the queen. Queen cannot move, so the bishop takes bishop. Now knight takes queen, bishop gives a check. Now the rook takes the knight and gives the check. So let us actually analyze what visualization is all about. You got to move the knight to e5, but you got to move that in your head. Right now the knight is sitting at e5 attacking the queen, but the queen cannot move. If the queen moves, then there is a checkmate. So now the black got to think about the alternate moves. So the only available alternate move is to take the bishop, which is sitting on h4 square. So that's what it does. It goes and takes the bishop out of there. Now right now, uh, after it has taken the bishop, the knight which is sitting at e5 would capture the queen which is sitting at f7 square, and all of this has to be done while the knight is being at f3 square. So after the knight takes, now the knight is at f7, the bishop is at h4 in your brain but not on the board right now. After that, next move for it's black to move. So the black would take the pawn on f2 square, giving a check, because if that's not the case, there is a mate for the black. as there is no protection on f7 square. After it takes, the king takes back the bishop, and next the rook takes uh, the knight which is sitting on f7 square. So all these things has to be done in your mind while the knight is still at its starting position, which is f3. So all these calculations has to be done in the brain. You shouldn't be moving any of the pieces on the board, and analyze all these moves right in your head. This is what visualization is all about. The more you do, the more you the more you practice, the better you become. So how exactly do you master this visualization skill, which is very essential in the chess? That is by tip number 4, which is solving the chess puzzles regularly. The best way to train visualization is through puzzles. Puzzles, they are like the gym workout for your brain. So before you go onto a uh, battle, or before you have a sport, it's mandatory to train your body, to warm up your body. In the same way, the puzzles are like a workout for your chess brain. They forces you to calculate, recognize patterns, and spot tactical shots that decides the game. So, being said that, the final part comes the end game. Don't ever ignore the end game. Opening gets you started, tactics wins you material, but end games are where games are truly decided. Many beginners never study end games, and that's why they lose completely winning positions. But if you put it in just a little effort here, you'll be ahead of most of the players instantly. And it's just not about the theory. Look at the Magnus Carlsen. He's famous for his endgame mystery. Even in the position that looks equal, he finds a way out to slowly outplay his opponents and grind out wins. That's the power of endgame. Okay, let's summarize our tips. So here are the 5 tips. Tip number 1, always think about your opponent's plan first. Tip number 2, master one opening as a black and as a white. And tip number 3, train your visualization skills, which gives the tip number 4, to solve puzzles regularly. And last but not the least, train and practice the end games. As you there have it, 5 golden tips that can truly transform the way you play chess. Remember, it's not about memorizing thousands of lines of tricks, but about building good habits and shaping your mind one step at a time. If you start applying even one of these tips in your game, you will notice a difference almost instantly. Until next time, keep learning, keep improving, and may your next move always be your best move.